So my name is Martin Lechner. I'm the CTO of Wikitude, and I'm going to tell you today how you combine the awesome world of augmented reality with web technologies. So actually, for all of you who don't know about augmented reality and what it really is, basically, back in 1984, right when I was born, there was a movie called Terminator. Maybe you've heard about that. This was actually the first, or actually not the first, but it's kind of where augmented reality was brought to the masses, right? So this Terminator guy, Arnold Schwarzenegger, that we all love, was running around, selecting all, or checking out all these targets like motorcycles and people. So that's kind of augmented reality, combining the reality around you with virtual data and kind of augmenting it with virtual data. So we are talking about two different types of augmented reality when we're talking about augmented reality these days, actually. Number one is vision-based augmented reality. That means like what you've seen before with the Terminator stuff. So you are scanning something, the mobile phone or your tablet or something, like a mobile device, is recognizing what's on the screen and kind of augmenting it with some virtual data. So for example, here you have a poster of a car, or some kind of magazine cover, whatever, and you have a 3D model, and you kind of want to show the people how this car looks like in kind of reality. And so this is, when you do augmented reality, this is what comes out of it. So the augmented magazine with that three-dimensional data, so you can have a look at it, experience it, combining the reality with the virtual world. The second form is location-based augmented reality. That means that you're not scanning something, but you're taking the location around you into consideration. You have the GPS of the mobile phone. You have all the sensors, so you can calculate your field of vision. And then, when you're strolling through London and there is Big Ben, then the phone actually can calculate that the Big Ben is actually in your field of vision and then can augment it with some additional information. So these are the types of augmented reality. So what does that, how does that combine with JavaScript and, all the web technologies that we so love? I told you that I'm from Wikitude, the Wikitude CTO, so kind of, there's the combination. We are producing software for augmented reality, actually a software development toolkit that you can download and create your own augmented reality experience. You can, sorry, you can create your own augmented reality experience with. We have the Wikitude SDK, which is available for Android and for iOS. You can download it, you can integrate it in your own application. And the beauty of it is that the interface for this SDK is JavaScript. So you can create augmented reality content with JavaScript. We also do have a second tool, which I'm not going to mention too much here. It's Wikitude Studio. It's a content management system for augmented reality. And, well, that's basically what I was just talking about. So we have the technology stack here. We have these two engines that cover the two types of augmented reality I was just talking about, the geo-augmented reality, location-based, and the image recognition and tracking augmented reality, which takes care of scanning the camera screen of your mobile phone. We have a rendering engine on top of that, but that is all transparent for you, so you don't have to worry about this. This is all low-level code, and on top of that, we have a JavaScript API that you can use. How much time do I still have? 2 minutes already. Good. So then we can still show some code. That's always good. So I was telling you, JavaScript, cool, augmented reality. How can you do this? How can you make this happen with the Wikitude SDK? That's essentially the lines of code that you need. So essentially, you are really creating a kind of a web page enabled with augmented reality. So you're downloading our SDK. You are kind of including a JavaScript file that we provide for you. And then you can make use of all these objects that we have provided for you. So for example, if you want to create this geo-based augmented reality, like that walking through London and Big Ben appears, this is what you do. You specify a geolocation, latitude and longitude, basically, of your point that you want to augment. You specify the augmentation, the virtual object that should appear. Here it's a label. We say, I'm floating somewhere. Maybe you find some proper visualization that actually makes sense. And then you combine these two things, the location and the virtual object, and that's it. Then when you launch this application and you 1 minute, all right. When you scan it, you will see that there is a text saying, I am floating somewhere at this particular location. So that's how you do augmented reality. And I'm not going into detail here, but it's very similar also for the vision-based augmented reality. Basically, you provide the data that you want to track, you provide the augmentation on top of it, and then you combine these two things. So it's very similar again. So these were my 5 minutes, quite in time. So please check us out. Wikitude.com is actually on our website. We provide augmented reality technologies for web developers. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, so it's pretty interesting. And well, let us know what you think, and definitely download our tools. Free to use. Once you publish something and you make some money, then we talk. But for now, try it out and enjoy. Thank you.
So hello, I'm Etienne, and today I'll talk to you about web development in Lua and Sailor. So I'm an undergrad student, and last year I decided to learn a new language. So why Lua? Well, it's an interesting language. It's very simple. It looks very cool. There are many games that use Lua. It's very known in the gaming industry. It's made in my home country. So to me, it was like a matter of honor to learn it before I graduate. And it has very cool benchmarks. These are speed tests of various algorithms like binary tree search of many web languages. And Lua and its just-in-time version do pretty well. And so how do you use Lua in web development? So many web servers give support to it, including the most famous ones like Apache and Nginx. But there is also Shavanti, which is a web server written in Lua. And there are plenty of others. If you search, you find many. If you talk to me, I can also show you some others later. What exactly is Sailor? So like I said, it's an MVC framework. It's written completely in Lua. It's compatible with different web servers. It runs on Linux, Mac, and Windows, although it's not very well supported in all of them, like Windows. And it's free software, and it's currently on the version 0.2, but I'm preparing a 0.3 release very soon. And in case you're wondering, yes, the version names are inspired by Sailor Moon. So what does it do? Well, it does a lot of things that frameworks are supposed to do, like routing. It has ORMs. You can generate forms. You can generate your models. But the highlight feature is that you can use Lua language at the client side. So that means that you can drop JavaScript if you want. And for newcomers, it means you don't have to learn two languages, one for the server side and another one for the client side. You can just use Lua. So the bad things about it is that it's in early development. Things are changing very fast. I do not guarantee that I'll provide backwards compatibility. I'm still making new stuff and documenting stuff. But it's pretty cool. If you want to check it out, if you want to make a simple web app, or if you just want to contribute, you can get it very simply. You need Lua, you need the package manager, which is Lua Rocks. And then install Sailor, you create your app, and install the server, and it's good to go. So taking a look at the code, I won't have time to go through models right now, but this is a controller and a view. So the controller is a Lua table, and the actions are functions indexed to the table. And you can you can check the post, you can instantiate objects, and you can render your view. The views are a Lua page, which is a normal HTML file, but that you can open Lua brackets inside it, just like PHP, sorry. And that's it. That is the result of this code. And if you want to check it out, the project is at sailorproject.org. That is the GitHub account. And you can contact me for support and questions. That's my mail and my Twitter account. Thank you.
Hi. So, my name is Kay. You can find me as Kerstin on GitHub. That's Kerstin. You can also find me on Twitter. That's KKVIE. Though you might maybe not follow me, might want to follow me on Twitter because I'm one of those angry feminists. It's true. What can I say? Yeah, some of you in here follow me already, and you can attest to that. So I'm here for a special reason. It says so here. Hannes was so nice to print me my own, or actually program me my own special badge. Sorry, it's a blurry. I'm here as part of techtrrrs. Normally we don't pronounce the name, we let people figure it out themselves. Which is an initiative aiming to connect women interested in tech in Vienna and Austria. So you might wonder why what that has to do with the conference. So you all have seen this part of the website. You bought a ticket, I presume. This part is the one that we were mostly responsible for. So we didn't have anything to do with finding sponsors, but we basically handled all the diversity grants work. So that was making forms on the one hand, then also evaluating all applications, which I won't show to you here, and emailing a lot. So I counted 233 emails in my inbox alone. The result is that there are 22 members of underrepresented groups in tech here today who could not otherwise have afforded coming here. Which is awesome. So what can you do for your own event? There's a new trend now. This is taken from an upcoming conference somewhere else, which is to put diversity on your conference website, so label your conference diverse. And it's about buying 2 tickets for you and someone else. By the way, this must be from another group. At the bottom was changed after some tweets that already criticized this. So don't do this, please. I won't go into why this is not such a good idea right now, but it's not such a good idea for multiple reasons. Please let people apply for diversity grants for free tickets. Don't ask any too personal questions on your application forms. It's really not needed. Reach out to as many potentially interested groups as possible. And ideally, you have a team of knowledgeable people who handle your diversity program and who have the connections to these interested groups. So what if you don't have an own event? It would be a good idea to support organizations and initiatives whose main focus is diversity work, and this includes explicitly feminist initiatives, with integrity, so who pay attention to who they collaborate with. 2 that came to my mind, very good ones, Ada Initiative and Geek Feminism. You know their wiki, might know their wiki. And Ada Initiative were also the ones who came up with the colored lanyards for photos, actually. So tomorrow is International Women's Day. Don't do this. This is from a flower shop close to my place. It says Sunday is International Women's Day. Don't get women flowers or chocolates, please. You might want to consider supporting a local feminist initiative by giving them money, time, energy, your resources, your skills. Thank you.
Okay. I am Hamilton Chapman, at Ham Chapman on Twitter. I'm a developer at Pusher. Very quickly, Pusher is a real-time hosted API. So if you want to do anything in real time that involves sending data between servers and clients or client to client, we have a pretty cool API that lets you do that. But I'm not really going to talk about Pusher specifically. I'm here just to talk about real-time in general and how we've kind of hit a bit of a dilemma where it seems that everyone expects real-time features in apps as standard, whether that be in a web app or in a mobile app. But we're not at the point yet where developers sort of prioritize putting real-time features in. Instead, they're quite often added as an afterthought, or they become part of the product later on. So I'm going to go through 7, if I have time, example use cases of real-time features that you can use in your apps going forward. So the first one, and probably the most common one that people are familiar with, is any kind of chat. So to start, there is this thing called Zawinski's law from Jamie Zawinski, unsurprisingly, which is every program attempts to expand until it can read mail. Those programs which cannot so expand are replaced by ones which can. This is kind of funny, but kind of relevant at the same time. This is from the UK, though, a graph showing how communication amongst different groups in the UK recently has moved completely away from email, and it's moving far more into sort of messaging apps, social networks, that sort of thing. So I'm proposing a more up-to-date version is every web app, or just normal app, attempts to expand until it offers chat as a feature. Those apps which cannot so expand are replaced by ones which can. So chat, I think, is clearly something that everyone uses, and communication is pretty key to how everyone works and how people enjoy spending their free time. They talk to people. The only problem is now everyone has so many different devices that they want to chat on that you kind of have to consider that when you're creating your application. So using something like native push notifications for mobile is fine, or just using straight WebSockets for your website is fine, but being able to use something like Pusher or any other multitude of real-time things where you can kind of use it to do both is something that is really handy. Another use case is anything which involves collaboration. So if you've got an app where you need people to communicate not directly with chat, but with comments or something, being able to have something update in real time reduces the friction, and it saves time for everyone involved. I'm going to speed up a bit. Number 3, real-time notifications. Say you've pushed out some dodgy code to your server and you need to alert everyone that you need to do a bit of emergency maintenance. You can quickly send out a message to everyone. Another example, I was ordering pizza the other day, and you can see on the left side here, there's a little button that counted down saying when I was allowed to refresh to see more information about where my pizza was. I kind of thought that was a bit lame. They could have just updated it for me. Number 4, Internet of Things. There's all these connected devices now in your house. A lot of people have it anyway. All this data is really important. Data is king. None of this is useful unless it's in real time. Number 5 was user onboarding. This is setting up a Microsoft Azure account. Again, I had to click to refresh to get information. If you have real-time stuff, you can get instant feedback. And getting those users on board it will likely get them to talk about your product to other people, and everyone knows word-of-mouth advertising is the best kind of advertising. Number 6, real-time dashboards. Everyone has a plethora of data, whether it just be GitHub commits, internal metrics, stuff like that. Number 7, very quickly, I know I'm out of time, you can make your APIs real-time. It's really easy. There you go.
Hello. When I woke up, I wasn't really expecting to do this, so I apologise. I kind of put this together in the last hour, and there's not as many cats as I did promise in my tweet, so sorry for those of you who might be disappointed. Yeah, so this is essentially stuff that I think is pretty cool, and you might not know about it. If you do, have a snooze, and if you don't, hopefully you'll learn something. So, right, I love Grunt. It's very, very cool. Makes my life a lot easier. I literally spend time window shopping for Grunt tasks. It's quite sad, but it's quite fun as well, because then on Monday you get to play with them. And then the problem is when, like I say, new people start, they have their own preferences. So some people would rather use Compass, some would rather use the SAS one, things like that. New project starts, and you have a whole different setup from the previous one, so you have to learn the way it's set up and everything like that. New tasks are released, you want to try them out, it's a pain in the neck, you end up with a massive Grunt file that just looks ridiculous, is unreadable, and it kind of ruins the idea of having Grunt, to be honest. So, modularize it. That's not quite as big as I was hoping it would be, but anyway. Essentially, load Grunt tasks. That's a kind of basic setup where it goes through, finds all the bits and pieces you've got in your dev dependencies in the package JSON file, and loads them in. Now, where do you have your tasks? You have them in a separate folder, all abstracted out, all very nice, and if you don't want to use a particular task, you just comment it out back in your grunt file, because you can pull them in individually, but it would be nicer if everyone was using the same ones, basically. And there is more information on that on the original place I've got the idea from. So, yeah, look up that blog post. It's very, very cool. Then there's this. I had a problem a little while ago so basically I work for an agency. I work for an agency, and there was stuff going off the side of the page, which was a bit crazy. And I couldn't work out why. Looked at all the styling, everything seemed fine. It was like, why is there a horizontal scroll? It was driving me absolutely mad. Until Firefox came to the rescue. Bit of a surprise, but bear with me. So if you go into Firefox DevTools, go to the settings thing, where the number 1 is, and then go to the number 2 point, where you've got 3D view, and then click the little box icon pops up, and then you get this. It's brilliant. You can literally move it around. You can see all the layers. It's excellent. It's so much fun. Do it with any site. You could just spend like hours just doing that, or I do, so maybe that's just me. Anyway, so, oh no, the page, oh, no, sorry, there's extra bits. There's a cat. There is also a Swift thing. I do a little bit of iOS, so this is something else I wanted to show you, because Swift is actually pretty cool. There is some Objective-C mixed in with it, which is another cool thing. You can still fall back to the old stuff, very nice. But basically, every time I do a talk, I have to show my favorite line of code. I'm going to get this printed out and put it on my wall because I love it. Basically, I've done a Steam app that uses a Steam API, games platform, pulls through your games, gets all the news items, and puts them onto the screen for you, essentially. There's a GitHub link if you want to have a look. But the line where it says games equals games sorted, that grabs all of the games and sorts them by playing time. So the games that you play more often are at the top. It's lovely. And back to the cat. Okay, cool.
Hello. Where is the timer? Timer? Ah, you are the timer. Okay, thank you, Hannes, that you helped me with clicking. Hello, everybody. I'm Romy. Hi, nice to meet you. Next one. This is how I felt 4 years ago, maybe 4.5 years, 5 years. I used to work for a big design agency, and after a couple of years, I felt like these ladies here, like doing not what I love, but doing what someone tells me to do, and I decided to quit. I asked myself, what can I hire myself for? I'm quite creative, I love to speak, I love people, I love tech people, I love to surround myself with smart minds, like Hannes, for example. And so I decided to open the first co-working space in Salzburg. So this is how it looks like. Some of you already visited us yesterday. We had some cocktails. Yes, and the motivation for this was that I want to surround myself with people who do what they love, and it's not only a nice saying, but really people who are passionate about what they do. I think I'm also passionate about co-working and bringing this concept to Europe, to Austria, and to Salzburg. Okay. And if we say do what you love, this is what it looks like sometimes. So people sleeping somewhere and getting some inspiration by doing nothing, thinking about the next client project or thinking about some design. Only 2 minutes left. Okay, Hannes, we have to hurry. Sometimes we do sports together, we go skiing, and all the time when we have each other surrounded, we have some brainstorming. And during this sports, we thought about what about if we could have a scanner that scans color, and then we have this light coming out from the bulb so that we can scan color to light. And this happened overnight, so Armin and Marty developed this, and this is this magic that happens in a co-working space sometimes. Okay, faster, faster. This is also how it looks like when we decide to go to the beach and have a co-working space there. Next. Then we go snorkeling together, and the formula behind this, that it's not only a space, it's not only people, it's not only events, and it's not only PR and social media, but it's all together. Okay, next one. We can say that co-workers are all skilled people because they have to finance themselves, so they should really know what they do or be skilled in what they do. And the good thing is that we are a growing number. Next one. Next one. And it's a worldwide trend. So imagine if we bring together the smartest minds for a certain task. Next, we have to hurry, really, Annas. Next. So if we bring together the best brains for a certain task, next one. And that's what we did some weeks ago. We had a task to solve, and we organized the camp. It's the co-working camp. So we had 40 people from the Middle East and North Africa working on one project together. Next one. And these are some of those people. So we had Sofana from Saudi Arabia. She was the first woman studying law in Saudi Arabia. She's really a pioneer, and she helped us on this challenge. And many other great people. This is how it looked like, a co-working camp in the middle of Cairo, next to Tahrir Square. Next one. Yes, and these are all people who really do what they love. The next co-working camp is going to happen in Rwanda, and the next one in Lebanon. And if you want me to inform you about our next challenge, follow me on Twitter. Thank you.
Cool. So, hey. Hi. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I'm going to talk very quickly, show you a lot of GIFs, and hopefully you may learn something. Feel free to pick me up at the party. So talking about ServiceWorker, this new spec, if you were in Ola's talk, you heard her mention it. So offline. Offline first. Yeah. Yeah, offline first, design pattern and logical extension of mobile first to take network connectivity into account when you're designing your application. I have no idea what the next slide is. Excellent. Oh yeah. My signal's gone. Now I don't have access to my content, said the internet. So developers went, we should cache things. And then management said, oh, I've heard about this offline first thing. I saw a really, really good talk in Salzburg. Can we do that in the next sprint? And then we thought, let's do app cache. We do have a bit of a problem there. Modern web doesn't really work totally unless you really buy into app cache and exactly how you're looking. And it gets really annoying. App cache is a douchebag on a list apart. Look it up, Jake Archibald, who basically wrote most of this talk by extension, has written so well about how app cache just doesn't quite work. But he's also written and done a lot of very good talks that put mine to shame on ServiceWorker, which is the pretty thing. So, standard app cache model, you have no programmatic access to your caches. Excuse me, I will be speeding up. Your browser speaks to the app cache, your browser speaks to the page, but other than that, you don't really have anything. So let's flip this around. Now, you can speak to the service worker, you have programmatic access to a durable set of caches, and it sits in the stack and intercepts network requests, which should be my next slide. Excellent. You've got programmatic control over resource requests, which is the really cool part. You can handle network requests. So it's a JavaScript worker, it can't access the DOM directly, and communicates with pages it controls via the post message interface. You can read, right? It's a programmable network proxy. This is the problem when speaker notes are gone. So you can control how network requests from your page are handled. So that's really cool. It doesn't rely on global state, but can access IndexedDB. Let's skip forward to the GIFs. So first off, register your service worker. You're on your way already. You're getting there. Tell it what to do. Here's the fun part. Check out the offline cookbook. I will put the slides up so that you get the link. Worth a talk by itself. Now, magic and crazy science. Hey, let's meet the service worker. Let's tell it to meet your web page. And then your web page says, hey, I've gone over here. And the service worker says, okay, let's go. This GIF is taking too long, but it's awesome. So yeah, sometimes your network, you just miss what you want, right? You get network request, the request goes out, it misses. Now, the service worker, can determine what network is and pick up new things on the way. Now your service worker has complete control and will take a moment and grab it. He's got it, yes, offline. Now you can also tell your service worker to sleep when you need it to, and that's essentially what I'm going to do. Thanks very much. I'm Lewis Cowper.
All right. Good evening, I'm Martin. I'm going to tell you something about hardware hacking with web technology. I will introduce you to my latest project, which is this black box here. This contains 100 LEDs and Raspberry Pi running Node.js. Yeah, and I will try to explain how all this works, but we need to explore a bit into electronics for this. Normally, if we say words like fast, it means something like 60 frames per second animations, or maybe servers that run in 10 milliseconds for a response, but with electronics, things are a bit different. We're talking like 10,000 times as fast, which means nanoseconds, which means close to 1 megahertz. So in there is an LED panel, which has 100 LEDs. And each of them has a controller chip, and we need to send data to them. And this is a bit complicated because I need to send 1.6 million times per second a change from 0 to 5 volts. So what you're seeing here is roughly how that works. To send a 0, I need a shorter pulse, a 1 is a longer pulse. These zeros and ones get combined to form color values of 24 bits per pixel. And this is repeated over and over again until all of the 100 LEDs have their color set. This is roughly how it works. We have a color value coming in. The first LED stores that value and sends everything that follows forward to the next LED, and so on until the signal pauses for 50 microseconds. Yeah, and that's when the registers are cleared and the LEDs light up. So I was supposed to talk about web technology, and I wanted to control these things using Node.js. So I wrote a driver module for this in C++. Which does exactly the sequencing of the bits and the timing issues and all that. But yeah, in the end, I just need an unsigned int array and write the color values there. So I'm able to pretty much everything I like, but lastly, it's just an int array, and I need to manage geometries and colors, and this is quite uncomfortable. But thankfully, web technology has something for me, which is a canvas element. And this is what I wanted to show you. What I wrote here, switch to the console quickly. Logged in here on the Raspberry Pi. No, not. Oh, no. So maybe it doesn't work. It's actually the first time it doesn't work. But it doesn't, so yeah, thank you very much.